Hi, I'm Carla, the Crazy Cross Stitch Lady. Welcome to my craft room. I have got a rotation update for you, and I've got all kinds of goodies to show you, and the last Stitch Quarterly, which actually was in June. So I've got some things to show you today that I'm excited about. And I just want to thank everyone who is returning, all my returning subscribers. Thank you so much for being with me. And thank you to the new ones who have joined. This is such an exciting journey, and I've told people that this cross stitch thing is an addiction, but there are definitely worse things to be addicted to, right? So we're going to go ahead and roll into this. I got my Buster shirt on today, so we're good to go. Okay. So I had started a new rotation, and what I decided to do, since I had probably close to about 20 whips or so, and I had about 3 that I wanted to continuously work on to get done. And one is a gift, and then the other 2 are full coverage pieces. So my full coverage pieces, I wanted to make sure that I was touching them more often than I had been doing. So what I decided to do was to split my whips in half and pull out those 3 and take half of my whips, and I put them next to the sofa where I do a lot of my stitching. And so I would work on one of those for a certain amount of time. Then I would go to one of those 3 that I wanted to continue on. Like I might go to my Buster piece and work on that for a certain amount of time. Then I would come back to one of my whips in the set and work on to the next one for a little bit. And then I would work on my Log Cabin Legacy piece and then come back to my whips and just go back and forth. And that way all of my whips were getting touched at some point, and those 3 were getting touched a lot more often. And so far I've gone through one set of my whips, and I have just transitioned. I brought these whips that I'm getting ready to show you that I've been working on. They're in here in the craft room, and the other whips are out in the living room area now, and I'm currently working on them. So far so good. I'm really happy with the way it's going, and I'm happy with what I'm working on. But I'm going to talk about those 3 pieces that I'm working on in just a little bit once I get through these whips. So let's go ahead and dive into these whips that I've got. So this first one, I don't think I made a lot of progress on it. This is Lucy Beam Loved Stitches. This is the shelter sampler that I got at the ranch retreat. And I don't know if she has released it fully to the public. I look for it and I can't find it, but I will go ahead and show it to you. This was a ranch retreat exclusive. And so it says, "It is in the shelter of each other that people live." So there's the design. And this is stitched on 36 count small potatoes by Lappin Loops. And when I first saw it and I saw that it was 36 count, I thought, don't think I'll be able to do it. But after I bought a Halo Go Light, and it's got the magnifier on it. Oh, I love that thing. This 36 count has been easy to work on. I thought I had my board. I'll just, let's see. I guess I'll use my little booklet here to hold it up so you can see it a little bit better. So I've got about half of it done, but I was so surprised at how much easier it was, because I just could not, I guess, find the magnification and the lighting that worked for me. But finally, once I did, then I could do this. So I'm really happy with the way that it's turning out. I've still got a little bit to go up here at the top, and then I've got the whole bottom half that I need to work on, and then it will be done. And I've already decided I'm gonna put this in a frame. What I did was I took, in the letters here, if you'll notice the letters, all of them are like kind of greens and brownish colors, except for the C, the P, and the V. So I wanted my initials to be a different color, and that's how I'm putting my mark on it. The C, of course, is for my first name, and then The V is the initial for my maiden name, and the P is the initial for my married name. And so this has been really fun to work on. And the fabric, I love the fabric. It's just, I'll just show you the other side. I love the modeling on it. Megan over at Lab and Loop, she and her husband run that business, and they just do a really good job of dyeing the fabric. So it's been a lot of fun to work on. I didn't make as much progress this time as from last time as I wanted to, so I will have to spend a little more time on this next time. Okay, let me slide you over there. And then this one, this is Modern Folk Embroidery, and this is the one where I'm using the silks. So this is Baldequin Birdies, but this is the Jacob there. Sometimes he'll do a whole big pattern, and then he'll give you, he has like a small bonus pattern that he takes motifs from the larger pattern and he puts them together to make a smaller pattern. So this is the bonus part that I'm doing from the Baldequin Birdies. So that's what I'm going to work on. And I'm doing this on, let's see, this is a 28 count Lugana by Mystic Fabrics, and the color is Brain Fog. And the silks that I'm using, I'm using Belsoir Lara Lilac. So that's, there's a Gloriana in there too, but that's the Belsoir that I'm using. And I absolutely love the silk. It can be a little slippery, but I do really like it. Okay, so here is where I have gotten, make sure I've got this, yeah. So there's my progress. I like the variegation. It's a very nice, subtle variegation, but you can see it. But see, it's going to be a small piece because I'm already, that's the border down the other side. So this is going to be a small piece, and I'm doing it in the top corner of this fabric so that I can use it for other things as well. So I thought if I put it in the corner, then I won't, if I put it in the middle, I might end up wasting more than I really wanted to. So I put it up in the corner, and it is a lot of fun to stitch on. Lots and lots of fun. All right, this one is my blue Rhapsody that I'm doing in purple because I'm creating a purple passion wall. And let me see if I can find my picture here. Okay, so here's Blue Rhapsody. This is by Rosewood Manor. And I'm doing this on a 14 count Everything Else, that's the name of the color, by Mystic Fabrics. And I'm doing it in 2 shades of purple, which are those 2 shades right there. And I made a little bit of progress here. So let me see if I can get this held up so you can actually see it. Okay, so that is where I am now. The only problem with this fabric, and this is an opalescent too, the only problem with this is that the weave is loose, and so my needle slips sometimes through the wrong hole. I have to be really careful as I'm stitching it, but it's still a lot of fun. I'm still very pleased with how it's looking, and I think it's going to be really pretty once I get it framed. So I decided that everything on my passion wall was going to be framed. So that is my deal with myself, is to have this professionally framed. I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to have them all professionally framed to make sure it's done right, because it's not that I can't frame things. I've framed things before, but I'm also not a professional framer. So there's that. All right, let me slide you back in there. All right. Well, they get caught on the lip of the zipper, and then you get that zipper caught on the, have you ever gotten, if you use project bags, have you ever gotten the zipper caught on some of the floss, and then it's like, oh, I've just like almost ripped that floss off the floss drop. It's like, oh, not good. All right, so let me see. Where's my picture? Do I have one? Oh, I think this is the one where I don't have a picture that I'm not sure what I have done with my original picture. This is Winter Rose Manor, and I started doing this one because I kept seeing Cynthia, the Intuitive Stitcher, stitching on hers, and she's doing a sal with another lady who's running it, and so I kept seeing it and kept seeing it, and I thought, oh, it's so pretty, it's so pretty. So I thought, just get it. You know, you think it's really pretty, just get it. So I have made copies of this pattern, and let me pause the video and see if I can actually find the booklet that goes with it, because I know I've got the book. I don't know, but and I'd like to show you. So hang tight. And we're back. Yeah, the book was, I had put all of my charts, I've got them in alphabetical order by the name of the designer, and it was back there with all the other patterns where you would logically think it would be, although since I'm still working on it, it really needs to be in the bag, which is where it's now going to stay, so I don't have to do that again. So here is the picture of Winter Rose Manor by With Thy Needle and Thread, or otherwise known as, most people know her as Brenda Gervais. So there it is. Now, what I've decided to do, I was telling a stitcher when we had our E-Town Stitch Day, I was telling one of them that, because she was working on it during the time we were there, and I told her that I was going to make both of the birds red, because I'm doing that in honor of my dad, because his favorite color was red. And she made the comment, well, she said, I like the fact that both the male and female birds are in there. And I like it too. I'm glad that both the male and female birds were included. But for me, I decided I wanted both birds red. So both of these birds are going to be red. I also went back through and made substitutions. So all of mine is going to be stitched in DMC. I just decided at that point I didn't want to buy more overdyed floss, and so I just pulled from stash, and the conversion effort was a little interesting. So it was a little bit hard for me to find the conversion and get it the way that I wanted it, but we'll see how it goes. So my colors are looking like that from the DMC. And what I currently have is just the top corner. I am doing this on a 28 count lamb's wool linen. So I think that will look good with this. Let's see, I'm not sure what she is recommending. Gotta take my glasses off so I can see. What is she recommending? Okay, so, okay. Let's see. Brenda's Brew Linen by R&R Reproductions is what this model was stitched on. So it's a little darker than the lamb's wool, but I think this lamb's wool is going to work. So this is all I've gotten right now. I haven't gotten very far. So this is in the top corner. That's it. But I'm off to a good start, I think. So I like it. And it's still daylight outside, and so this lamb's wool, of course, is a little bit darker there. That's more of what the color is. Maybe I better hold it back. But yeah, that's as far as I've gotten on it. And this is going to, now this book is going to go in the bag, so I won't have to go through that again. But I have enjoyed the start, and so we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to participate in the SAL. I just need to go at my own pace. But I am enjoying watching others' progress. So that's fun. Okay, so this is, for the month of August, my friend Kenny at Kenny Stitches is doing the Abandoned Sal for his birthday month. And so I decided, and since I was pulling out all of my whips anyway, to make sure to touch this piece at least one time during the Abandoned Sal. And so this is The Founding of America by Twin Peaks Primitives. And I simply love this piece. And I've got to find the picture here. This is a really nice piece, and I definitely want to make sure that I am stitching quite a lot on it. It may become one of my main pieces that I touch a lot next year, because next year is the 250th anniversary of the founding of the U.S. And so since I do live in the United States, then I would like to stitch on this a little more. And it's got, you know, several historical figures in there. We've got George Washington, Betsy Ross, Thomas Jefferson, all the main ones. And so I would like to stitch on this. And I'm stitching this one. This is also being stitched on a 28 count lamb's wool Jobelin. Did I say linen for the last one? I think I did. I'm having brain fog here. No, they're both on lamb's wool even weave. It's not a linen. They're both even weave. So this, I made more progress on the border, so that's where I am right now. So I'm doing pretty good for being the slow stitcher that I am. It's been a lot of fun to work on stitching that. So this is going to be a lot of fun to stitch. I've never stitched on one quite like that before. So all my colors right here. All DMC that I'm using on that one. Okay. Now this one is my continuous, like non-stop Barn Sweet Barn. I don't know, I'm very dry today. I do not know why I'm so dry, but there it is. What are you going to do? So I'm doing, this is Barn Sweet Barn. It is a 2023 Sal by Fat Quarter Shop. And what they do is they have a star that they've designed, and they have different colors for every month. And I have a wooden barn that I painted. It's not a 3D wooden barn, but it's a flat wooden barn. And so I'm going to make magnets out of all of these once I'm finished. And I'm going to then put that up on the wall and rotate them throughout the year. So that will be a seasonal rotation. And this, I started this one. I had started another one of their Barn Sweet Barn Sals, and then I really didn't like the star, but I really like this one. So this is a picture of the January star that they did. They're doing all of theirs on a 25 count white Lugana, and I am doing mine on 25 count white Lugana. And for this is the June one. And the June one, they always do like one color and then a lighter version of that color and white. So June is green, and those are some pretty greens. All of them are DMC, so you can buy the pack, which I decided, I thought I'm doing all of these, so I might as well just buy the floss pack with it. That way I don't have to worry about it. I've got it. And so I'm almost finished with half of this star. These go pretty quickly. I really enjoy stitching on these. If I'm really stressed out, or, you know, it's just been a rough day, Sometimes I'll just pull this out, even if it's not its turn in the rotation. I'll pull it out because you don't really have to think a lot to do this. It's a very simple, repetitive pattern. You can just pick it up and go. And so that's what I like to do. And so there it is. And I like these colors a little bit better than last month's. The gold was pretty, but I like these greens a little bit better. So I'm just going to continue plodding on until I get it all done. Get all through December. All right, and this is my last whip to show you today because the others I'm working on. This, I cannot wait to see what this is actually, how this is actually going to turn out. This is Lady Rose by Shannon Christine Designs. Look at her. Want to do a cameo. I am going to try to put her in a round frame, so we'll see. I've never finished a round or even oval one, so we'll see how that goes. But there she is. So I'll be stitching a lot of black, but I'm doing this on what am I doing this on? It would be nice if I had to keep this. Okay, so this is Atomic Ranch Fabrics, and it is a 28 count Lugana, and the color is lavender. So here are my colors for this: green, black, white, and pink. And I haven't gotten very far with this, but you'll be able to start to see something here. You can see a little bit of the rose. I'm starting up in the top corner. So let's see. Yeah, that's about true to color right there. So that's as far as I've gotten, and I'm doing it in the corner so that I can use this fabric again for other things, just like I'm doing with some of my other projects. I figure that that is the best way not to waste as much fabric instead of trying to start in the middle. So there she is. I am so excited because I like that against the purple. This is going to go on my purple passion wall as well. So anything that has like purple fabric, or if there's a lot of purple in it, it doesn't have to be just purple, but it needs to be mostly purple. So this one, I like it because it's got the purple fabric on it. So that's what I'm doing. Now, let's talk, oh, actually, sorry, I lied. I lied to you. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to lie to you. Okay, so okay, let me pause because I just dropped something that I absolutely need to have. Okay, I'm back again. Okay, so this, I need to tell you about this little trip that I took. So back at probably the middle of July, I went to Shaker Village. And let me tell you a little bit about Shaker Village. Shaker Village at Pleasant Hill, this is a place in Kentucky, over in Harrodsburg, which is, so I'm about in the middle of the state, okay? Lexington is about an hour and a half east of me. Harrodsburg is going to be around that area, not quite as far as Lexington, but it's in that general area, just to give you an idea of where this is in the state. So Shaker Village was a village of men and women who worked together as a community. They did not fraternize much. They stayed in separate quarters. They would bring people in from the outside, maybe people who would join the community a lot of times if they had nowhere else to go, or they wanted more security, that kind of thing. And they were self-sustaining for the most part. You know, they would grow their own food and make clothing, and they mainly existed during the 19th century. Well, I don't recall seeing a lot of Kentucky samplers, much less Shaker samplers. So I attended this class. It was a Shaker sampler class. And what they do, especially when they discover new samplers, this lady decided that, you know, she enjoys cross stitch. So she decided that she wanted to have a class where she would talk about the sampler, talk about the history of the sampler, show items that normally are not on display, and then actually give people the pattern that she had created, because she was creating patterns from these samplers, and give us, you know, the students the materials in order to stitch the sampler. Her name is Becky Souls, and I think this is a really cool project that she's got going on. So this is the first time I've attended. She's had this maybe a few years now. The sampler that she did this time, and you know, it's not a really fancy sampler. It's plain, but the shakers were pretty plain with the way that they did things. And so I want to read you a little bit of the history of this sampler, and then I'll show it to you. This sampler was worked by a Pleasant Hill shaker sister, Margaret B., between 1841 and 1866. Several sisters of that name lived at Pleasant Hill during that time, and it is unclear exactly which sister created this sampler. Her sampler is typical of the work created by the Sisters of Pleasant Hill, a relatively simple alphabet sampler worked in cross stitch using dark blue. So she said they really like to use dark blue. Shaker sisters marked much of the community's clothing and linens with cross-stitch letters or numbers for identification purposes, and learning to neatly work such stitches would have been an important part of the young sisters' education. So instead of using samplers to show off her stitching and show men that, hey, I'm very useful, I can stitch very neatly, I can keep house, please marry me, you know, that kind of thing. This was more of a very practical, practicing this and being very neat about their stitches so that they could function and identify all of their clothing, because they wash their clothes together and that kind of thing. So in addition to including the seamstress's name, shaker samplers often included space to recognize other members of the community. Below the alphabet and numbers 1 through 11, Margaret included 2 rows of initials memorializing the community's leaders. The first 2 sets of initials on each row, JR, AB, SJ, and PB, represented Pleasant Hill's ministry elders and eldresses: James Rankin, Amos Balance, Sarah Jenkins, and Paulina Bryant. This quartet's leadership tenure ran from 1841 to 1866, providing a date range for the sampler. Below a line, Margaret included 3 more rows of letters, likely the initials of other young girls and sisters with whom she lived and worked. The original sampler was worked on linen fabric, approximately 28 count, and measures about 8.5 inches by 7 inches. As was customary on shaker samplers, the edges were turned under and hemmed. Make sure to choose fabric with sufficient extra for finishing in a manner of your choice. So she encouraged us to just do it how we wanted, but I think I may also fold mine under just because that's how they did it. So DMC 939, which is a very dark blue, is what we were using. And it says, Margaret didn't always stitch or leave spaces in blocks of 2 threads. The pattern faithfully reproduces her original work. Now this was the challenge, because the pattern is not evenly done by 2 threads for each stitch. Sometimes she would skip one, or she'd hit the wrong one. She'd be going in like what should have been the space in the middle instead of, you know, going to the next one. So several of us were struggling with this. But once you figure out where one X is supposed to go, then all the other X's you can just kind of follow in line, which is what she did. So this is going to be challenging. I am determined to finish this. I got started on it while we were there. But this is the sampler. See, it's very plain, but it served its purpose. And so this is the 28 count linen that we got, and this is how far I got on it that day. So that was a lot of fun to work on. It was so neat to be stitching on this and we were sitting in one of the old Shaker homes. It was one of the community dwellings. It was a 2-story house where they stayed. And we're sitting in there stitching on a Shaker sampler. And I just thought that was so cool. So at the end of the video, I will put a few pictures from my visit to Shaker Village, as well as I got to see this actual sampler. So they had it and brought it out for us to see. So I actually got to see the real thing, which was really cool. And this is another one they did maybe last year or a year before. This is Elizabeth Spalding, Marianne Ewing sampler. And so I decided she had the other ones to purchase. So that's hard to see, I know, but because it's rather dark, but I purchased this one. So that was pretty cool. So that was a neat trip to Shaker Village. I really appreciated being able to do that. Okay, now I want to show you part of my Buster Keaton whip. I've had to restart it. This will be time number 3, hopefully 3rd time's the charm. But I want to show you something in case you decide you want to do some photo conversions. This is on a 16 count white Aida, but I want you to take a look. Now you're starting to see his face here, right? But I want you to look at what this is supposed to be, barn wall. So this is supposed to be wood. Now, if you're looking closely at it, you may wonder, well, what's the deal? What are you showing me? It looks like a jigsaw puzzle. If you notice, it looks like, if you look really close, it looks like splotches. It shouldn't look that way. If you're doing a photo conversion, now this looks okay, but if that's doing the splotchy thing, then some of the rest of the things on here are going to do the same thing. That's not something you want. That just reeks of, ooh, I'm a pixelated pattern, you know. And I've seen too many people who have done photo conversions and then they're showing it on some of our stitchy groups, and it just it doesn't look good. And they've spent all that time and put all that effort into it, and it just doesn't look good. Now, if they're happy with it, honest, that's all that matters. Remember, we talk about, you know, you do you when it comes to your cross stitch. So if they were happy with it, that's fantastic. I would not have been happy with it for me. So I'm just telling you that this is not going to work. That is not going to work. And I didn't realize, I didn't see it until I backed up one day and I was like, oh my goodness. So I put that picture back through my pattern maker for cross stitch program. I've started over. We'll see how it goes. But I was not happy. I was like, oh, stop the presses. Nope. So there you go. Okay. Now I'm going to show you my Stitch Quarterly from June. And so if you got the Stitch Quarterly, you can just hop, you know, I always put timestamps down the bottom so you can just hop to the next thing if you want. But if you haven't seen it, you just like seeing people open stuff, here we go. I love to see people open stuff on here. So this is the bag, the project bag. And I have not even gotten all this stuff out, and I am so excited. They always do a good job of giving you stuff. So the first thing I like to look at with the Stitch Quarterly is the pattern and what's in it. Looks like this one's a little different from what they normally do. The whole pattern is, the booklet's a little bit bigger than it normally has been. So that's cool. Okay, let me put that there. Okay, so, ooh, isn't that cool? Lovely ladybugs. Oh, they're so cute. I haven't even looked at this yet. It's so cute. Look. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Look at the ladybugs. That's so cute. I love it. Very colorful. Ooh, that's neat. So they have the pattern in here. And then on the back, let's see, it's got the colors. Oh, here we go. Stitch Quarterly, they also have Oh, that's what's different. They put it in the same bag with the floss. Look at all that colorful DMC. And then you also get a John James needle, and this is a 26, I'm sure. It's usually a size 26, which is what I now use. Okay, so this is the subscription packet, and I like to look inside here first because it lists everything that you get. So you get, sorry, I'm taking my glasses off again. Okay, so you get the Ladybugs pattern. You get 14 count, let's see, Delicate and Dreamy. Is that the color? No, Morganite. This is a 14 count Ada from Fiber on a Whim. Ooh, look at that. Let's see, you can't tell. Let me hold it back. That's kind of hard to see. Put my glasses back on here so I can see better. Let me see if I can pull it out. It's a really pretty pink. That's so pretty. I like it. So that's from Fiber on a Whim, which I don't think I've stitched on any of their fabrics yet. It's really soft too. I like it. So got that, and then got the DMC floss, which is a beautiful rainbow. It's truly a rainbow there. Okay, they always give you a notion. So Tidy cross stitch bags. Oh yeah, I remember seeing those being advertised. They're basically they're for your orts, kind of like an ort container. So here they are. They gave me two. One's green, one's pink. I'm gonna open that so you can see it. All right, let's see it. Come on out. Well, okay, so it's like a little bag, and you just, yeah, little bag, and you just put your orts in there. It's a gift bag. When I first saw them being advertised, I thought I could just buy a small gift bag and do. I love Fat Quarter Shop, but sometimes it's like, yeah, no. But this came with my kit, so I will use them. So I've got this one, and I've got the green one. So that's really cute. I like that. So I got some anyway. Okay, and then you always get a needle minder. Oh, that's a pretty little flower. It's got a ladybug on it. Check it out. Their needle minders are awesome. They have very strong magnets. They are fantastic. And then, of course, I've got the project bag. So, yay. And if you decide that you want a Stitch Quarterly, when it comes, you're ready to stitch. You have everything you need. You've got floss, needle, fabric, pattern. You're ready to go. And there it is. Okay, now I want to give you my crazy craft tip. So the crazy craft tip for today is to prepare your edges for when you're sewing or getting ready to stitch your piece. Unlike me, I always forget to do that, usually. But there are some different ways that you can prep your edges so that they don't start unraveling while you're working on this. First one's called Fray Check. And you can buy Fray Check at the now non-existent Joann's. You can buy this at Michael's. I believe they do have some. And you can also, of course, order this online. And this one was the double pack. I think this is one of the last things I bought from Joann's. And so this bottle, all you do is clip off the top. It's kind of like a glue. I take I've got a piece of poster board that I use, and I'll put my fabric on there, and you just squeeze it along the edges. And then I usually will let it dry at least a few hours, and it will make the edges stiff where it will not start unraveling on you. But it does have a little bit of a smell to it, and yes, of course, it is a chemical. Now you'll trim that stuff off later anyway. When you're finishing, nobody's going to see that. But again, I mean, I probably won't buy any more because it is kind of chemically, and I'd rather not do that if I don't have to. So another way you can finish, of course, is if you have a serger, you can serge the edges of it. And if you don't have a serger and you don't want to use the fray check, then you can invest in a pair of pinking shears. If you're not sure what pinking shears are, they have the little ridges here, and you just cut right along the edges, and it will give you a little ridge along all the edges. And you may have some fraying, but not much, not like you would have if you don't do anything at all. And I got this idea from my friend Jennifer from Stitching in the Bluegrass, because this is what she does, is she uses her pinking shears and does that. I would suggest though that if you're going to go the pinking shear route, and you know you're going to use it a lot of times anyway with different fabrics, I would invest in a nice pair. Don't buy like the little bitty small ones, because they don't work that well. They might work well on paper, but not on fabric. So I would suggest to just, you know, grit your teeth and pay a little bit more for a nice pair of pinking shears. And in fact, I am doing the pinking shear treatment on, I've got several pieces of fabric that I wasn't going to use, and I'm going to donate that to one of our stitching groups, because we're trying to get new stitchers in and teach them how to stitch. So we're making like, I'm just going to take, this is like a 10 by 10, just enough for them to practice on. And so you can see the edge right there. That's what the pinking shear does. So this will keep it from unraveling quite so quickly. So that's what that looks like, and that's my crafting tip, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so I hope that you have enjoyed your visit to the craft room with me today. I hope that you have enjoyed seeing all the cool stuff and enjoying this hobby that we have called cross stitch. So with that, be creative, be blessed, and I will see you later. Bye, everybody.